fastest show on the road. As we continue to have technical difficulties.
Is it because your phone?
Dana's magnetic personality.
Something in the universe tonight. So we are having technical difficulty. We are going to record the meeting, and then we'll have to upload it afterwards. I'm not sure why the camera's not speaking on the Wi-Fi right now. So sorry for any inconvenience this causes.
Okay. Well, welcome to the January 19th, 2026 regular school board meeting. This meeting is a meeting of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. There's a time for public participation during the meeting as indicated in the agenda. This meeting is now called to order. It is 6:43. Please rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. Natalie, will you take roll call, please?
Robinson,
Here.
Jennifer Gonzalez,
Here.
Mike Powers,
Here.
Audrey Kostick,
Here.
Keith Kassenson.
Thank you, Natalie. Verification of public notice pursuant to 19.841 Wisconsin statutes.
Meeting was posted in all the usual spots: schoolhouse stores, E-Virgin, Village Hall, and media were notified, and they're not present tonight, but they were going to watch the video.
Okay, thank you, Mike. We move to approve the agenda of this meeting.
So move. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda of this meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next is consent agenda. And as all 5 board members were present at the 4 meeting minutes from the workshop from 12:01, special board meeting from 12:01, regular meeting from 12:15, and special board meeting from 12:15. We can blanket that in a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve the minutes listed in the agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes on the agenda. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, we move to the financial reports. Jeff?
Okay, so a couple things for the December financials. The payroll, again, wire transfers, ACHs. So before I say that, and I know that, so for the board members, we've had a couple mistakes by me. They're 100% my mistake, and I want to make sure that everybody knows what's happening moving forward. So the first thing is, so board members in the annual meeting were supposed to get paid in December and April, and so so 3 of you got paid late because at Yorkville we only pay them once, and I didn't realize it. I'm a bit of a creature of habit. If it's not in my payroll folder and printed, I usually don't do it. So I print a lot, put it in my payroll folder to remind myself. So the one thing after the annual meeting I didn't do was print out that sheet that says I need to pay the board members in December. So I didn't pay the board members in December. And then 2 of you I didn't have employment paperwork for. So then 2 of you didn't get paid for tomorrow. So then 2 of you are going to get paid February 5th. And so it also says that it's paid into installments. And so I just assumed it was half and half. Well, that's not what's done in the past. So what's done in the past is they sort of did a calculation of how many months you worked and gave you like 3/4 of it in December and then 1/4 of it in, I think it was like 8 months and 4 months in April. So if you look at your check and it looks like it's less than it normally has been, that's what I did. So for the next annual meeting, I'm going to define it a little better so everybody knows what's happening moving forward. So I apologize for that. That's 100% on me. It stems from, being new, and the thing I hate the most is payroll mistakes. So, and unfortunately, you can't communicate payroll before you do it. And so it's one of those weird things. And so the other thing is, in December, I had Mike working as a lunch aide, and then I realized that board members can't get paid for work. So Mike and I have a agreement that he's going to pay back whatever was paid to him. It was about $426. It was 100% my fault that I told Mike he could work. I had no idea that board members can't work. If it was more significant, then I probably would have, had a bigger conversation. But being a lunch aide, we needed help. One of the lunch aides had surgery on her knee, and he said that he would do it, and I said we would pay him. So it was completely 100% my fault. So nothing's on him, it's all on me. So that's two things that happened in December. It just happened to happen to the board members, and I apologize. So hopefully, I won't make those kind of mistakes. I rarely make the same mistake twice until something new happens. And every day is a new adventure, and it's just what it is.
Jeff, I have a question,
Yes.
and maybe, why, being in the position, is it something in board policy that we can change?
No, I think it's a law.
Oh, okay.
I think it's state statute.
It's a statute related to the order of operations. You oversee me, I can't oversee him as an employee.
Okay.
So it's sort of that, you can't hold two positions in the same organization. It's a state thing. It's a lunch supervisor, and it's actually a substitute. I mean, thank you for helping us. Now for volunteering, but we appreciate the help. But it was definitely something that we overlooked, and we shouldn't have.
Okay.
And it was pretty much 100% on me, because I'm the one that said yes, and some people asked me, and I said yes, so I was 100% wrong. Sometimes that happens.
We'll forgive you, okay?
Right, thanks. So then, let's see, so a couple things in December for cash receipts. You can go to the next sheet. So we got an equalization aid of $318,000, which helps a lot, so we had to borrow a lot less in December. On the cash disbursements and wire transfers, right there in the middle, I was waiting to do a second payments. We were not behind, but we were like a couple days behind. Our health insurance bill is due on the 1st, and so I was always paying it on the 1st or the 2nd, which made us behind. And then when we get to July, it's going to put us behind. So United Healthcare gave us a refund in July, and I was just waiting because we paid our bill early, or the person before me paid the bill early, and so we, instead of like moving everybody's expenses off into liabilities, I just put it in one account, and it's like a prior year revenue account, and I just credited that account. So I made 2 payments, and that's why it says reclass UHC July refund. I was just waiting for us to get some money for me to be able to make that second payment. So that's what that is there too. And you also see some revenues. The square revenue from concessions goes to Fund 10. Into our Fund 10 account, it's automatically held there for some reason, so just made a transfer out of there. So it's the only thing that looks a little different than normal. If you scroll down to Fund 21, we had a lot of activity in Fund 21. We had a DC Quick Trip fundraiser, which took in $10,400. I think the expense was only like $4,600 or $4,800. So it was a significant fundraiser for DC. And who's the teacher that did that? Goodrich. That's you, right? Yeah. So Mrs. Goodrich.
Success is your fault.
That was her idea. I had nothing to do with it. She had that idea. We signed up as a organization for fundraising to Quick Trip, and it was all her idea, so kudos to her. Yeah,
Yes.
so, well, it was her first, well, she initiated with me, so you get all the credit. So it was and I was very surprised, so it was pretty good. And so, a couple other things, we had a PTO donation, we had some senior breakfast donations that were deposited, a band donation, an 8th grade trip donation, so a lot of donations to a bunch of things that happen at Raymond that affect students. So then on the balance sheet, if you scroll down, only thing to note of that is you'll see on the third line is we borrowed $120,000 on the line of credit instead of the $318,000 helped a lot with revenue. And then on the liability side for that, right now we owe about $9,000 in interest. If you scroll down to so again, you have the financials for the monthly financial statement. Again, it's just all of the transactions that happened on the expense and revenue side for all of the larger objects. And then, let's see, if you scroll down to the cash flow. So if you look at the December 2025 cash flow, again, the first column is the ending balance of the checking and money market account, the revenue that was taken in, payroll expenses, the reconciliation for checks and wires, and then the line of credit that was taken. And so it was updated a little bit. So we did get our tax revenue on July 15th. So January will look similar to what you see there. My big goal is the August of 2026, making sure that that balance is enough that we can pay off our debt. So, and right now we're on track. So that's all I have.
Any questions?
I move to accept and approve the financials given by Jeff. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the financials check presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we move to this student showcase.
Yes, we'd like to welcome some special guests today. We have a couple of staff members, Ms. Lutke and Ms. Kerber, longtime staff here who work with a variety of kids. We got a couple of superstars here tonight as well with Levi and Morgan. We're very excited to have our special guest talk a little bit. So last year we had, I encountered this thing called middle school snack sales. And it got a little bit hard to regulate and inventory and keep up with because middle schoolers eat a lot. So this year, Ms. Lutke is crazy enough to say, I think we can take that on. And because she has nothing else going on in her day, she thought middle school feeding is really important to her. Longtime middle school teacher for us. So they're here to talk about what they do and how they engage, and I'll just kind of drive the bus here in terms of the presentation.
Yes, hi, I'm Mrs. Lutke, and this is Mrs. Kerber, and I've actually been here this is my 24th year teaching middle school. Yeah, and I love it. This is an amazing school. We are family in our classroom, and we're here today to talk about some of the amazing things that happened in middle school. And we have Morgan and Levi. However, unfortunately, Morgan had an after-school curricular activity, so she couldn't make it. But we have Levi. Levi's here, and he loves helping people. You love fishing, hunting, your family, right? And basketball.
really enjoys matching Bucks jerseys. That's a big thing of his.
He has a love for matching. Like I'm telling you, a passion for matching. Right? Yes. And then if Morgan would have come, here's a picture of Morgan. She's our social butterfly. She enjoys fish fries, friendship bracelets, and she loves being with her friends, loves her friends and her family. So we're gonna, through the next slides, we're gonna show you how, what we do in the middle school is really functional life skills. Oops. Do you wanna do the next slide?
This is the quick very end.
We went all the way to the end. What the heck?
Yeah.
All right.
There you go.
This is Canva, I'm telling you.
We cook in the classroom. Their favorite thing to cook, though, we found out, and the other kids to eat, is pancakes. We think they like the flipping action. I'm not quite sure. Or it could be the whipped cream that we always have that Levi so skillfully whips up every day. And then, like Mr. Leach said, we started the middle school market. Students in middle school can come and buy snacks, and we've now broadened it to any time during the day. So if you're hungry during the day, just stop in. The middle school kids, I know that you hear that some of them are rude and loud and obnoxious. Ours are not. I don't know why. They come in so nice into the classroom to please ask for a snack. It's wonderful.
It's because they're hungry.
I guess so. I don't
They
know,
are
but they-
absolutely so respectful.
Yes, they come in quietly, they ask politely, it's amazing. And then we also started a little grocery store. So I'll give them a list to shop for. They'll take their list, they'll go to our little grocery store, they'll find it on their list, and then lately I've been having them add up the different items with a calculator. So that's been really fun.
Lots of fun things. So in middle school, we have incentives where all the middle school get to do something fun that they earned. And this last month for the incentive, we made popcorn for the middle school students. So you can see Levi loved being behind the concession stand and bagging the popcorn. Loved it. In fact, we even have a popcorn machine in our classroom now. And then they did the Christmas shop. Mrs. Kerber is an amazing crafter. So she worked with them to make crafts and then sell them in the staff lounge. And then they also helped out at senior breakfast. They made the crafts for the senior breakfast, and I believe they were raffled off.
Yeah,
All the
they were.
decorations.
The decorations, and they were raffled off, yep.
Okay, they enjoy lots of different activities. They went to the Admiral Games, I believe that's a picture of. And then we celebrated Fire Week, and we made our own fire trucks in the classroom. And there's another picture of them at the senior breakfast. That was really fun. They really enjoyed that.
And then here's just some various pictures throughout the school. If you see on the right-hand picture, they were bagging birdseed. So they made spreading seeds of kindness, birdseed for your bird feeders, for everybody. So Levi will hand one out to all the board members, and then on your way out in the audience, feel free, I'll put them there, and you can take one. So spreading seeds of kindness, packaged by Levi and Morgan.
Oh, that is amazing. Thank you. That's awesome.
And then I think we got one more slide.
Oh, and then our latest endeavor, which has been really fun, it was our first day on Friday. We made popcorn and sold it to the middle school. The middle schoolers loved it. Our hope is to take orders from the other grades within the school and then get to go and see them and deliver their orders to them. Like Mrs. Licky said, he loved popping popcorn and bagging it up. So he was really excited last Friday. So, yeah, it was
It's
really
gonna get
cool.
so big, he's gonna need to hire help.
Do you want to hand out seats to everybody with the microphones? Okay, you got it? All righty.
You didn't scare me. The other thing Levi likes, the other thing he likes to do is scare people. And so oftentimes, thank you, sir. He will stop by the office, and we have a lot of shared tasks. Miss Natalie, I have to give her kudos. She helps with various personal needs for the students, even though she's our building or district secretary and admin assistant, she is involved in the rotation of assisting and covering and making sure everybody's comfortable throughout the day. And as a result, she gets scared often as well. You may hear screams in the office, and they're usually happy screams. But Mrs. Paul, now, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Thank you, Levi. That's very nice of you.
I have to push the button.
Yep.
Okay. I have come to a lot of school board meetings and spoke, but I never brought my student. And he's in 8th grade. He's almost done here at Raymond. Levi, you got people over there.
You gotta scare them too. You can cruise around the back. They won't see you coming.
And so I just wanted to say to the board and the community, I guess, I'm really, really grateful. Raymond has been a wonderful home for Levi. And as you already heard from Ms. Ludke, his special ed teacher, and Ms. Kerber, one of his aides, I can totally feel comfortable having my special ed kid here. And I am, and I'm thankful. So, that's it.
The hardest part, I think, of this year so far is we have 2 wonderful 8th graders here. The sad thing is they're moving on.
Yeah.
And the high school is ready for them. They have no idea what they're in for. It's going to be a lot of fun. We have already had transition meetings too, and brought over for several different functions. The high school is in the middle of sort of chaotic building, but there's a room all set, ready to go for all the things we need for personal care. And Tom and their team over there are ready. It's been neat to see the transition. We're trying to get better. Donna's been great about, Ms. Wagner, about making sure our team is talking and coordinating as things go. And just a shout out to our special ed team here, Ms. Lukey and Ms. Kerber and assorted other elves that have just done an amazing job supporting our kids. So I just give them a round of applause. And Ms. Kerber and Ms. Lukey, this is their favorite thing, being called out in public and talked about. But I can't say enough. They're a pretty special team. So thank you for presenting. Does the board have any comments?
I do. Having a special needs child myself, the functional skills are so valuable to teach them just simple life skills, things that we take for granted. Shopping for fruit or groceries or whatever. In our case, Pavel worked at a he bagged apples and diapers, what do you call it, a food pantry, and he loves that kind of work. So finding their little niche is awesome, and I just commend you, ladies, for the work that you do with very special children.
And, you know, me being in the school and getting to see things a little bit differently now over the last few weeks, it is so great to see how they interact with everyone in the whole school as well. They're not just sitting in a corner somewhere like back in the days when I was here and stuff, or pushed off in a certain wing. Everyone's integrated together, and they're so well behaved. And, man, watching them at lunchroom, especially little Morgan running around, getting to have her fun and stuff like that, and Levi and that, it is just such greatness, and they are so kind and polite in there. And man, their table is always like the cleanest table when they leave too. They always clean up after themselves, and they're just really good kids. So you guys are doing a great job over there in special ed.
Well, I too have a special needs son. Nicholas came to school here. He's going to be 42 in February. And I just know that the teachers and the aides, it's just, you're special people to take it on. And I know that you really, really care. And that's a wonderful thing. And you can see it. So, thank you.
Thank you, Levi.
Thank you, Levi.
One more round of applause for Levi.
Yay, Levi.
Okay. We move to the public portion of the meeting. Members of the public wishing to address the board on any topic that is posted on the agenda are required to complete a public input form before the beginning of the meeting and submit it to the board clerk for consideration. The comments are limited to 2 minutes. And what do we have, Jenny?
We have Raymond.
I'm bringing this up because I really didn't get an answer when I was at the village board meeting. Every year we get a letter and it tells us what the village people do. And they're using the word school liaison for Keith Castenson. And I find it a conflict of interest that he is the liaison to the school. He's sitting here collecting a paycheck from the village to be in his board position here. And I feel that that's a conflict of interest, and I have looked it up, and it is a conflict of interest. Plus the fact that every time he goes into a closed session meeting, he still is on the village board, and he has access to things that the rest of the public does not have access to. This is a conflict of interest. It wasn't before when he wasn't a school member, but it is now. And I think something should be changed. Do you understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because I did not get, all I got from the village president was, I'll take it under consideration. And frankly, this puts you in a position that legally, if anything would get out, if you would accidentally say something, which I'm not saying he does, but this puts you in a legal position for allowing information that is considered closed session to somebody else who is not information to be able to be sent through to another organization that has nothing to do with the school. I understand you want to share information. That's fine. That's not a problem. But the problem comes in when somebody's getting paid to be the liaison for the school and they're coming here in their capacity as another elected official.
Dory, I'd like to look into that, and I'd like to know specifically where all that is stated.
Where what is stated?
All of this that you're saying, where is it stated? Do you have?
Right here.
You got it.
Oh, okay, great.
I do know, Mr. Castenson is,
Well, then I understand.
yeah, Mr. Castenson is, I think,
Where is it written?
Look up legal ethics.
yeah,
It's in there, and it will specifically say school board.
I do think,
I just,
thank you for,
I think it's a legal issue that needs to be looked at. I
Sure.
really do.
Is it legal or a conflict of interest?
It's a
Like,
conflict,
there's
of it's an
difference.
ethical conflict of interest.
Okay.
I think the other piece of this, well, first off, we don't have, maybe I wish we had more communication with the village. The first time we've ever talked to the village was about 2 months ago when the village president came and talked to us. Otherwise, I don't ever share or request anything be shared other than normal school board operational pieces, but I certainly can talk with Mr. President Doug and see if,
Well, his answer was, I'll take it under advisement, and then he just brushed me off.
Sure.
That's what he did.
I
And that's
do-
why I'm bringing it up, because
Yeah.
this is it's an ethical, legal question. And Keith should not be put in that position.
Sure.
It was fine when he wasn't on the school board, but now, right now, he's sitting here as a liaison for the village, for the school, and as an elected school board official. And that's where we don't need this kind of issues coming up. You know, you got to look at what is legal, okay? He's legally representing himself here twice. Okay, you can't be two people at the same time. You look up ethics and look under school board, and it will say that you cannot be doing your position and having any kind of other benefit to yourself. And that would be collecting his paychecks for the village.
I do know that it's never, like, we as a board don't ever discuss the village stuff.
That's not what I'm saying.
I know that, I know, but
I'm saying anything that is done in closed session
Correct.
that would get and I'm saying accidentally, I'm not accusing anybody, I'm saying accidentally gets out, the school will be liable because they allowed him as have a dual role in his position in a closed session. And with all the litigation that the school board is in right now, you guys need to be very careful, okay?
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to district business. WASB state resolutions.
Yes, hard to believe that we are, this week is the WASB State Convention. I'll be heading there for a couple of different sessions, along with Mike Powers and Audrey Kosick. So we're excited to learn about, what's going on in the world of WASB. Every year, the resolutions, this is sort of like the story of how a bill becomes a law. At its finest, there's a number of resolutions that are presented, and then the board has to try to understand those and either support or not what those various resolutions are. There are a number of resolutions every year, and so I just went through and did a synopsis. Our board has the right to submit resolutions if they see fit as well. So if you want to ever engage in this process, we certainly can, through our committee process, put together some ideas. The big one that sort of is different than usual is this concept that there's a bylaws change for WASB that's being proposed. The bylaws change for WASB is saying, in effect, there will be two different kinds of membership. Currently, there's one kind of membership. The membership votes on this kind of stuff every year, and they would like to break it out and have two different kinds of membership. One is voting members, and the other is a member, what's their recommendation? They're changing the term to like limited membership. The limited membership is basically our board loves all of WASB's resources, would use all of WASB's resources, but doesn't want to get into some of the politics and lobbying that occurs. Several school districts figured it's easier to just engage with the wonderful resources than it is to have to try to work through and navigate some of the things that WASB is engaged with. And so the board, this is just us deciding that the board, WASB, should offer that to districts as option A and B. And I'm in support of that because I feel like we don't know what this and future lobbying holds, but our district needs to make that choice then annually. I do believe there would be a difference in price, but they didn't establish that because the limited membership would still provide all the oversight, the presentations we use, that WASB is so wonderful at providing. However, sometimes the engagement gets a little bit much, or it differs with what the values in the community may be. So that's something on the label for now that I'm in support of. And obviously the board can decide to, side with me or not and take the recommendation. Additionally, there's a number of topics that are in here. There's the removal of the caps of parent choice, which is something that we support here. We want to make sure, with rationale, we basically want to make sure that we're providing our community with the best, our kids here with the best possible funding sources. And we really believe that that's a good choice. Revisions to the school report card are on the menu here as well. So every year the formula seems to change for the school report card, and this just will stabilize that formula under some different factors. Additionally, the funds distribution resolution, this is looking at how funds are distributed across school districts, and there's an amendment that's in place with a repeal and amend concept that we want to make sure we're aware of. The authority to schedule referenda resolutions, I think that that's a local decision. If the school board wants to go to referendum, that's their decision. This is saying that the state should have a hand in telling us whether we can or can't go to resolution, which I believe would be a loss of local control. Additionally, substance abuse disorder and treatment, there's an aid resolution in there that is in support of providing funds should a district need those for students. Thank goodness here with a K-8 model, there's not a ton of that, but there is some prevention dollars as well as some support for families that are going through substance abuse issues that would be adjusted. There's a vocational transition with Students with Disabilities resolution, basically what we just talked about here tonight with kids heading off to the high school, making sure that they have plans for vocational rehab and vocational planning, allocating funds a little bit differently, which is a good thing. There's the universally covered meals, which would have the federal government subsidizing and then the state picking up the difference, not necessarily a local thing, but allowing the state to engage in that meal program funding discussion, not just making it federal funded. Public education endowment, this is an interesting thing in our issues with funding. Oftentimes when we have issues with funding, we go to referendum because we don't have a ton of levers to pull. So just aside from having the car wash sale at Quick Trip, which raises quite a lot of money, this is an endowment fund actually that would be set up by Wisconsinites to hopefully more equitably fund public education. So the state would like to be able to set up an endowment fund and start to work towards having that type of a funding source. It's an interesting twist. We currently do not have that funding source. Additionally, early childhood education funding and allowing private-public partnerships in a community that doesn't have a ton of private childcare to really push up against this. It is nice to be able, if there were a childcare in town, to be able to fund our K-4 programming or provide some partnership opportunities there for the school. We don't have any current opportunities in place. The decoupling is an interesting one. This is the first year that they actually put conflicting resolutions in. They put one in favor of decoupling and one against decoupling. Never seen that. So they want to basically know what's the test, what's the appetite by different boards. So when Mike goes to sit at these sessions, I am in support of decoupling, which breaks the private school funding away from public school funding. So what happened is we set our levy, and then our levy always goes up last minute because we add $160,000 to it for all the kids who are in voucher programs around the area of private school. So if you decouple that, that's us saying there's a pot for public school and the state has to manage the pot for private school, and they may come from the same sources, but it's not our tax bill that we're raising up artificially. Well, it's not artificial, it's real, and then putting it out to the taxpayers. We don't get any of those dollars, but we have to levy for those dollars. So it's breaking that out as separate lines on the budget, and I would support that. Like I said, number 11 is we support number 10, so we can't support number 11 because you can't disagree and agree in the same thing, which I've never seen that before, which is new. And last but not least, the WIAA. Everyone loves them. Basically, this is meant to allow us to help in making policy for the WIA. I believe the people who use the rules or have been involved with the rule decision-making, with the rule outcomes, should be involved in decision-making. So in other words, our athletes in our schools should be able to have a say in the rules, not just have WIA come in from above and drop all the rules on, which they currently do. So I'm in support of that. So that's what we're sending off to WASB, and so what we're looking for from the board is just an awareness of those statements, and then Mike, when he goes off, will have an awareness of what the direction is for the district. Any discussion or questions?
I'll make a motion to approve the recommendation by administration for bonds.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the recommendations made by Mike for the WASB rep to share at the convention. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, we move to the audit report.
So the audit is right now, and all the audits moving forward, will be on the District Business Services website. It's under the school board right now. That's the menu. Looking to probably put some more financials there in the future, so everything's transparent and anyone can go easily and find some of the financials. So right now, it's a little bit bare bones. Also, the mandatory RFPs will also be on there because those also have to be public. When you go, if you go to the Business Services website, the audit is right now, it's live for anybody to see, including all of the comments that the auditors make, all the journal entries that were made. It's long, and just we did go through it a little bit more in depth in the financial meeting last Wednesday, but just for everybody to know, I don't expect anybody to look at it and try to understand a lot of it. It's somewhat of a, you know, there's a couple things. So there's Wisconsin accounting, which is called WUFAR, Wisconsin Uniform Accounting, and then there's the GASB accounting, which includes depreciation of buildings and assets and OPEB and WRS. And so a lot of what you see is a lot of those things put together. For instance, the first part of the audit, like on page 14 and 15, shows like our financial health. So our net position, if you ever worked in QuickBooks, which some of you might have done, it's kind of like at the end there's an equity piece in QuickBooks. In GASB accounting and school accounting, it's called net position. So that first part of like pages 14 and 15 go through the financials, which includes depreciation of buildings. So it looks like our net position is in the negative. So it doesn't, like I live in, most of my time, I'm living in Wisconsin accounting and not GASB accounting. And that's one of the reasons why an auditor does the financial statements, and we'll go through the end of the audit, some of those findings in a second. But the first couple pages is sort of a big overview of the health of the financials. And then it goes through a lot of how they got to those numbers. So pages 20, I think it's 20 to 47, it sort of explains how they got to those numbers. And a lot of it is our handbook has OPEB, which is benefits that are paid outside of the normal fiscal year for retirees, and WRS. WRS gives the auditor our account and puts all of those numbers, gives them, and then the auditor reports on them. So someone like me in my position would be a conflict of interest for me to create the audit, because you have to have an outside person. Yet when they do the findings, they say one of the findings is that there's an outside group doing an audit, which makes a lot of sense. So if anybody has any questions about any of it, what I give you in my board financials is most of where everybody lives. The only thing that's added in the audit is OPEB, so outside payments for retirees, WRS, depreciation of buildings and capital assets. And this audit, just remember, is for 2024-25. I started July 1 of 2025, so it was the work that was done before me. So it was a bit of a challenge for me to find things that they wanted, even though I did help the district starting in April to clean up some of their accounting. So I did know a little bit about the district when we did the audit. So it is difficult for someone. I never understood why, the change of my position happens in July when the audit happens at the end of July. So it would make more sense to be January or something. So so this audit was a bit of a challenge for me, even though I was used to it. But for the most part, they got everything that they needed. And so we're hoping to get the auditor here, maybe next meeting or the meeting after, that would work with their schedule so they can speak to the audit more. It is a bit of a conflict of interest for me to report on the audit, but again, all of the fund balances you have seen before. I report on all the fund balances, so there's nothing really to hide. It's a slightly more in-depth view of the financials for the district. So just a couple of things that are important. Mike, if you want to go to page 71. So what they did is they included the 2023-2024 findings. Is there numbers on there? What number is that? to 70, there we go. So, these were the findings that they had the year before, and so they included those in the audit. So the year before, there was some issues with, again, you'll see that the first one, 001, has the auditor doing the financial statements. It makes a lot of sense, even though it's a finding. Segregation of duties is difficult in a small school. I have a process document for federal funds and for what happens in the business office. But if we hire 3 or 4 people, that would be probably satisfy segregation of duties. But we do have a process to make sure that all of the, and I have that document that I gave them to. But that was the finding from the previous year. They had some audit adjustments, so they had some findings that they found. And then they say the status of them. So did the district fix it? So many of them are resolved from the previous year. And so they included those, and then they made a finding of if it was resolved or not. I can't speak to a lot of those findings because I wasn't here. And probably not many of us weren't here. So that's where
They were a direct result, though, of changes that we made in the office as we finished last year. We recognized there were some significant areas to improve upon, and we reduced the number overall, as you'll see, down to now single digit, 6 of them, 3 of which shouldn't happen again, based on the finding. But
So then if you go to page 74, they have the 2020, so the findings of the audit they did this past July. And then they had me respond to them. So there was, again, the auditor does the financial statements as an ongoing finding. Segregation of duties. The district can't really afford to pay 3 other people in the business office. But again, I do have a process. Audit adjustments, so you'll see the adjustments that the journal entries that the auditor made. Per pupil aid, I tried to figure out what that was. I didn't see that until I saw the actual audit. I tried to dig into that one a little bit, which was 004, Mike. It's on page 76.
I think the page numbers on the screen are different than the page
I
numbers
think
in
they
the
are,
report.
thank you, yeah.
You have to go down further.
Yep,
Yeah, you look at the page on the bottom of the
that
sheet.
makes sense that they're totally missing.
Yeah.
That's good. Thank you.
Scroll down a little bit more. So right there, the per pupil aid. So they're saying that the district didn't get $1,000 of their per pupil aid. I could not figure that out why. That's not going to happen, just by the way. When I'm here, it's not going to happen. And then, so 006 was, they found at the sort of the last second, there was an aide that worked in special ed that didn't have a license, so she subbed a couple times. We have reviewed our sub policies to make sure everybody has a license, and that happened last April or March. So then if you go to page 79, on the bottom of the page, so those were that's where my responses to the 3 findings from the 6 findings from 2025, and those, so I was required to respond to those. So. Again, anybody can ask me at any time. I should know all the answers to any of your questions as it relates to the audit. I just don't want to go through every single page, and it's not interesting to some people. So I read it on the plane many times while I was on vacation for a couple days, and I enjoy it, but
You got to find better books.
not everybody does.
So as Jeff mentioned, our goal is to get better and fix the things that are ailing us, and so we will invite Lucida here and a rep from them. Pat Rita last year came. I'm going to try and get Pat again to come and just publicly address any questions there may be. And we're looking forward to, again, having another good audit this year and working our way through the process and getting better each time we do it.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. So next is open enrollment seat approval.
So just to make sure that everybody understands the chart, because it does get confusing in a way. And I think many of you have seen this already. So the yellow is the current year resident enrollment, and then the current year open enrollment in. So right now, it's 388, and I think the second Friday of this last Friday, what day is it? Tuesday, Monday? So Friday the 9th,
A little over a week.
week ago, so it was very similar to this, so not much has changed. So that's the enrollment for the current year. So the green is the projected for next year, so it's just a cast forward. Obviously, some things change. There are kindergartners that might come in that we don't know about. And then the open enrollment cast forward so this is for 26, 27, so projected 26, 27. The blue part that says recommended 25, 26, that's wrong. It's supposed to be recommended 26, 27. So the blue table is what we're recommending. So it should say recommended 26, 27. It's not 25, 26. So the recommended grade size by administration, so 30 in 4K, 36 in kindergarten. And then when we do open enrollment lottery, we have to also recommend if we're going to open any special education seats for open enrollment. Right now, that's at 0 for all grades. So anybody that's identified at open enrollment as having special ed needs, we don't accept those. And then what you see, the recommended by administration when we went through what we would recommend for 4K, K, and moving forward, some of the grades, supplementing some extra seats to make sure the class sizes are filled. The only question is 4K and K. It's hard to figure out how many 4Kers are going to come in. I have some ideas to change to make that number a little bit more accurate in the future, similar to what they do at Yorkville with families and registration. But right now, that's what we're recommending for open enrollment. The next part is just the fiscal impact. So this current year is 10,102. So this is the current year. So right now, our current open enrollment in funds are 1.3, and then open enrollment out is 469,000. One of the reasons, obviously, for open enrollment out, it's probably a bit unusual, maybe with some issues a couple of years ago. Trying to weather that storm, but that's what we're recommending. You can change you can talk and discuss, and if you do recommend something in open enrollment, you have to do it by grade, because when we do the lottery, you have to identify students as a number. So if we recommend 11 students or 1 student in 4th grade, we have to take that 1 student, and if there's 5 other applications, we do a lottery and we do a waiting list 1, waiting list 2, waiting list 3. So we have to identify a number in each grade.
I got something I'd like to add.
I wrote it down because I'm not the greatest public speaker. I'd like to say I think it's time to start looking for different ways to balance the budget and being financially responsible. We all know no one wants to have their taxes to go up. We've had school referendums and a fire department referendum that have all failed, and they've all failed by quite a bit. If we can't pass a referendum for the fire department, which everyone in Raymond could possibly need their service someday, we are certainly going to have a hard time passing one for the school. I agree the school is in need of repairs, but if we don't try something different and keep going down the same path, I don't think anything passes. With talking to many residents around the village, they are having a hard time with helping pay for a school that's enrollment would be 42% school choice if we add 55 more for next year. The problem doesn't stop here. Our taxes have all gone up this year due to the high school referendum. All these students we are accepting affects the high school as well. I would like to sit down with the board, Mike and Jeff, and see if we could explore different options. A couple I was thinking of would maybe go back to the way it was when I was here, combining classes if it could work. I don't know, I'm just suggesting. Or maybe even going to one class per grade level. We need to look into this and see if it works. If we can reduce the number of students in the school and have it work financially, we don't need a larger school and would be less wear and tear on the school. I also think the residents of Raymond would more likely support the school as a smaller community school. Something needs to change to get the community together to make this work. I would like to add that this idea has nothing to do with me directly. I have no problem with school choice students at all. We as board members need to do what's right for the village, and we need to look into more options. The last comment would be for the media. If any of this gets posted on social media, please make it truthful. I do not need it twisted in any way. Thank you.
Like, I agree partially with Keith on this, that it seems like our constituents in the village really are not gonna pass, any kind of referendum for the school if we keep open enrollment. But at the same time, it's hard to say that, and I wish some of these residents would come in and understand where we're coming from as a school board when we have to look at these numbers and make the tough decisions of what goes on and who we enroll, who we don't enroll, and see what the numbers are and what it means for our school and for our education here and for our teachers and our staff and everything. Because even if we were to cut open enrollment right now, that would start with 4K. We're, maybe not, we're already maybe not kindergarten. But if we go and we have all these open enrollment that are kindergartners right now, we're not gonna get rid of them for 9 years. So we're not gonna be able to cut down to one classroom per year overnight. And we're still gonna have to keep paying these teachers, and we're still gonna have to pay the electric bill and the heat bill and everything else that goes associated with it. And you really don't wanna look at children as a number, but that's kind of what we have to do when we decide on this, is what it's gonna be, because we still have to pay the teachers. And where is that money gonna come from if we don't have these open enrollment numbers? So, yes, it would be nice if we had some kind of alternative, or if the government, state, would start funding public schools better to make it a little easier on us, but we have to look at it, and maybe someday, hopefully we get our numbers up for residents, and get younger and have more younger residents coming in, because I know this year 4K is a little small compared to kindergarten, which is just amazingly wild, and everything else that goes with it. So, it is a hard decision, and it's something that we definitely need to look into, because like I said, from just like Keith, talking to residents, they're not gonna pass a referendum no matter what we say to them, because they don't understand these numbers and they don't understand what it means and how long it's gonna take us to correct all of the things and balance it all back out. It's just, you can't say no open enrollment overnight and you're done.
It's not what I'm saying.
I know it's not what you're saying or anything, but this is just how some of the community members don't understand all that. And I think that needs to be maybe addressed in future communications, is if they would actually listen. But you can't even get them to a school board meeting or reply back to all of our comments. So puts us all in a very tough situation up here, making these decisions and understanding what goes on.
I think why don't we have them finish their discussion? I don't know, I'm not running the board meeting, you can certainly.
Not right at the moment. Any other comments?
When do we have to make a decision by?
Tonight.
Well, as I look at this, and I understand where Keith's coming from, but it's kind of a balancing act. And I think we're looking at this where we got 2 classrooms in each grade. And we wanna balance that out so that each teacher has, maybe not capacity, maybe a little less than capacity, but I don't know. That's, it's gotta be handled tonight. I think it's an 8-year event. I don't think you can tell people that, oh, your kid can't come here anymore.
I don't think
we
that's
can do
what he's
that.
saying.
We don't lose any students that are currently enrolled.
Oh, okay, okay.
So this
okay.
would be any future, so, we want to make sure, and Keith and I have talked a little bit about, I'm not putting words in your mouth, so correct me if I'm wrong, but supplementing a classroom that is low in numbers with 2, 3, 4 kids
Yeah,
isn't so much the concern. It's when we insert on the bottom side the 4K, 5K, and it grows. This year's 5K, for example, kind of exploded because we had open enrollment kids here, and then we got 10 resident kids that came out of the woodwork, 5 and 5. So it put our 2 classes of 18 at 23 apiece. Those are big kindergarten classrooms. So we just want to make sure, and that's why when we put together the suggestions, and our admin team looks at this pretty long-windedly, we did not recommend that we max out based on the open enrollment in, because we are assuming, it's safe to assume we're going to be getting, well, if you go with this year's trend, about 10. But again, we don't know. The census is not super accurate. We will change our registration process that says, do you have any kids that are up and coming, school age potential? But we don't currently do that. So this forecast would be looking at really 4K, 5K, adding 10 apiece. When you look at the 11 and the 14 under 3rd and 6th grade, those are sort of, I'm not going to say misleading numbers, but the chances of us getting 11 third graders and 14 sixth graders to show up at our door is pretty slim. But technically, when you run the formula, those are seats we would have. That's why we just ran it as apply the treatment of X plus open enrollment equals Y. And the Y would be that recommended grade size of 30, 36, and 40, and then 50 in middle school. So that's how we came up with these numbers. The building capacity is another thing, because you've asked before, Ed, and you know, 450 in our heyday maximum was kind of where we sat with enrollment, so we know we can fit them. But what's the board's appetite for filling up? And what I heard Keith saying is just watching it to say, if we don't have enough kids, that's okay. We just have to come up with a plan B. So I just want to keep the conversation moving. But current enrollment students, they don't get removed from school. If they're here, currently this year, they are here.
I'd like to make a motion for open enrollment as follows, 25-26 school year as follows. 4K, 0, kindergarten 5, first grade 0, second grade 0, third grade 11, fourth grade 1, fifth grade 0, sixth grade 12, seventh grade 8, eighth grade 0. That's all for regular education, and then 0 for special education.
What's your total come to?
Keith, those are additional?
No.
No,
That's
37.
the blue, go down to the blue one.
Yeah.
he's changing those numbers.
So
I'm sorry, 37, did you say?
37 on my fast math.
and the other thing I'll just add is, when we do the lottery, so if we put 4K at 0, that doesn't mean that we can't accept them. So let's say we only get 5 4Kers that register or that we know are going to come in. We can still waitlist them and then accept them. If you say according to what we have, if you say you have 10, you have to accept those 10. If they apply and we do the lottery and we have 20, then you have to accept the 10 that get in the lottery. So if we say 0, you can still accept 4K. You can still, if we have open seats to fill, or whatever.
Our class size is not met.
Right, whatever the class size is appropriate, so. But if we get, 24 4Kers, it might be a good idea to limit it a little bit more, but. It works with any grade
They
level.
say 5 in kindergarten, and we
Yes.
could still adopt.
The only drawback to it is there's a weird timeline where when you give people wait list letters, so once you say that you're accepted, they have a certain amount of time, which is like a week or 2 weeks, I can't remember. And then you have to go to the next person, and then it's another week or 2 weeks. And sometimes families aren't as responsive as you would hope them to be. So that's the only drawback of not specifying a specific number, so.
Any other comments? You made a motion.
Made a motion.
Dr. Luce, can I just ask for clarification on leap year that the recommendation was made for?
Yes, it is not 25, 26, it is for
20.
26, 27, so for next year's enrollment. Thank you for, we wrote it wrong.
Could you repeat your numbers?
It is 0 for 4K, 5 for kindergarten, 0 first grade, 0 second grade, 11 for third, 1 for fourth, 0 for fifth, 12 for sixth, 8 for seventh, 0 for eighth.
Thank you.
I'll second Keith's motion.
All right, we have a motion to accept a total of 37 and a second. Any other discussion?
This is in addition to over what we have this,
Yes.
so.
Yes.
It's more than what we have today, right?
Well,
Okay.
any other?
Jeff, when it comes to budgeting, before the vote is cast, what did you calculate our budget off of? Was it 55, or was it like last year when we said less than that?
So I do a very conservative budget, so I'm not budgeting for 55 kids for 26, 27. I budget for about half of that, about 380 kids, I think I'm budgeting, 383 kids,
About where we are today.
correct. And the only other drawback of doing 0 for 4K is it's possible that we would have to reduce a half-time teacher, if we don't accept those kids, so.
It would cause a staffing shift that we'd have to consider. That could be a number of options, including grade level blending, multi-age classrooms, reduced classroom, I'm preaching to the choir, Mrs. Marty. But that would just be in the interest of full disclosure as the numbers are cast. But the budget is not built on 55, it's built on about half of that. So about 27 and a half. We don't have a lot of torsos around here, so 27.
And I think that with the lowered numbers for 4K, at least that still gives us, we still have the open, the numbers are up where we want them, but it gives us that opportunity to still pull them in. But it also gives us as a board some time to look at things, and look at alternatives like what Keith brought up, and also kind of shows some of our constituents that we're seriously looking into that to hopefully work something out with them as well.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. And if there's no other discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. So we move to committee reports. We have a meeting, curriculum coming up in February.
Yes,
So there
February
wasn't-
2nd?
So there wasn't any curriculum prior to that.
No.
Facilities, we have a meeting on January 27th coming up. And finance, we had a meeting on January 14th. And Ed, have something to say about that?
No, basically we reviewed what Jeff presented this evening, and everything was kosher, so no need in rehashing what Jeff's already presented.
We did mention in that meeting that we received our $1.4 million tax payment from the village, so that's going to be helpful in the coming months.
Correct.
But we didn't have that at the meeting,
No, it wasn't at the meeting.
right?
No,
We talked about it.
yep.
Yep. Okay, and our next policy meeting is on February 16th, so there's no update on that. Administrative reports. Dr. Leach?
Yes, welcome back. Happy New Year, 2026. Break really went fast. It was sort of a whirlwind heading into break. Kids had a blast. This place was alive with energy around the Christmas and holiday season. Concerts went beautifully. The last couple of weeks were long just because we had that 2-day week right before Christmas Eve. So we went to school Monday, Tuesday. Not every school did that. So those 2 days were tricky. But a lot of parents thanked us because they could do their holiday preparations while we, helped keep the kids at bay. So it was a lot of fun. Just kudos to the staff for just making this place feel pretty special. It's not too hard with little ones, but K through 8 just having a lot of fun before the holidays was great. Professional Development Day was today, so we were here with all of our staff learning and talking about where we are at about the halfway point of the school year. We looked at data. We examined positive messaging with kids. This is a tough time of year. We've been with kids now for half a year, and our staff, they know them very well, and the kids know their staff very well. So the relationships are deep, and sometimes, the frustrations may ensue or just needs for kids to continue to be motivated and help the teachers to motivate them to the best of their abilities. So talked a lot about just the power of positive messaging and feedback. So staff, of course, were wonderful and really reflective. And we did some data dive this afternoon with each of our grade levels, thanks to Miss Marty for her magic that she works with our various data. And one thing we came out of the data dive with is we have a lot of really smart kids a lot of green on the zones. There's yellow and there's red and there's green. Yellow and red are concerning and green is good. So we did a lot of good conversations this afternoon about the positive things. And then just a shout out to PTO. PTO movie night is the 23rd. We are also having our auction for PTO on the 14th from 15th of March, Sunday. Looking forward to having that. So hopefully you can get out as a community member and purchase your tickets and come to that event in March, which is quickly approaching. So movie night is the 23rd. We're excited about that.
I'm going to be very quick. It's been a long day. Couple of things. We have been selected for NAEP testing, and that's the National Assessment for Educational Performance. It's kind of the nation's report card. You will hear people refer to that. That's the one that gets the big headlines about how many schools, how many kids are proficient or not proficient. So we are selected this year, and our fourth graders on February 5th, they come in, they do the testing. We just are here to supervise the kids, so that's coming up. Summer school, it is going to run this year from June 10th to July 1st. And so just that's been set, and we're going to start working on that, believe it or not, next month already. We just got done with our winter testing, and we had our data meetings today so that we can start interventions for the students who need it, and maybe some enrichment for those who tested very well. And that's back to that legislation that was passed, which drives a lot of what we do. We are on semester report cards, which will be coming to an end this Friday. Report cards will be available on the 28th. And that's
Electronically.
electronically, yeah.
Of January.
That's all, yes.
Thank you both.
Any board member comments?
Hey Audrey, what time is the meeting for the curriculum?
Sorry.
What time is the meeting for the curriculum?
I can tell you,
I think it's 4 o'clock.
yes.
All right, well,
For February 2nd,
Yeah.
I have 4:30 because we have our board workshop at 5:30.
Okay.
Okay,
Does that sound right?
we can make that happen.
I'll start off working on this. Again, as I said last month, it has been really neat working within the school and now volunteering, because I am going to be going to a volunteer role. I am still going to stay with it until I believe Miss Becky, I think that was her name, gets back from her surgery. So I will still continue to play with the kids and have fun with them at lunch and recess. It has been a really good experience. I think I've told a few of them that's kind of nice, and then I get to talk to them. I actually work with their grandparents or knew their grandparents or whoever, so it's kind of neat. The kids get a kick out of it. Also, I kind of told Mike, I think I missed my calling when I was younger. I wish I would have been a little bit more proficient in things, and I probably would have became a gym teacher or something, because it's just really cool and really neat to work with these kids and see them grow and see them interact, and just playing with them at lunch or out for recess is just a really good time, and trying to keep them in line as the teachers do a great job here, because some of them get pretty rambunctious, especially between running inside and outside and how cold it is, and it's definitely not what I was expecting when I'm sitting there used to herding other animals and not the children, trying to keep them in line. So on that note, I also have a comment that I would like to make. First and foremost, I want to clarify that I do not regret my situation to fill the position of being here for the luncheon duties. I recognize the need for support and believed I could make a valuable contribution to the school. Taking on this role has been a true honor, and I stand firmly by my choice to support our school and its students. As members of this community, it is our responsibility to ensure that the children at Raymond School Elementary have access to an academic experience that promotes growth and development. By accepting this position, I was able to guarantee that our students received appropriate supervision during lunch and recess. This support also allows teachers and staff the time they need to eat, attend personal matters, and plan lessons that keep our students engaged in developing academically, functionally, and socially, enabling them to acquire essential lifelong skills. While this financial assistance helped my family during our challenges this winter, it was not my primary motivation. This role was intended to be temporary and did not attract much external interest, which could have left our school, staff, and students without essential supervision during lunch and recess. Our educators are the backbone of the institution. They are the everyday heroes who dedicate themselves to preparing lessons, nurturing relationships with students, resolving conflicts, managing behaviors, modeling appropriate social and safety skills, and investing their personal time to ensure student success. They deserve the opportunity to enjoy their lunches, take breaks, and engage in meaningful conversations with fellow teachers about students' needs and progress. While additional responsibilities such as supervising lunch and managing recess duty may seem minor, they can lead to increased stress. These duties often limit the time available for crucial discussions and limit lesson planning, especially when capable individuals within our community could assist, help, and alleviate burnout among our educators. In my experience, actions speak louder than words. As part of this community, it is essential for us to unite and demonstrate our support through meaningful actions that will bring about the necessary changes to ensure success at all levels within Raymond School. Changes begin within our willingness to act. Let my commitment to support and inspire you to volunteer your time and apply for positions within the school when opportunities arise. When job openings are posted, please consider applying if you can, as our community is filled with many multi-talented individuals. I received $15 an hour for 2.5 hours of support on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. I started this position at the end of November and totaled, like Jeff said earlier, about $426 or whatever. I will repay this amount in full without hesitation. I would like to express my gratitude to our educators for their unwavering hard work and dedication. I want them to know that I will continue to support the school and its educators to foster the best possible culture, work environment, and academic success for the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Any other comments? We move to announcements and or correspondence. And the only announcement I have is we only had one candidate who requested to run for the school board vacancy coming up in April, and that is Jenny Gonzalez. And
Thank you.
thank you for stepping up.
You bet.
Next, we have our scheduled future board meetings. Curriculum meeting will be Monday, February 2nd at 4:30 PM, followed by a board workshop at 5:30 PM. And then our regular board meeting is scheduled for February 16th at 6:30 PM. At this time, we are going to adjourn from our regular session and go into closed session. And the board may convene in closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statutes 19.851C, considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. We will conduct a closed session in the main office conference room. There is no action taken from this closed session, so the board will not be returning to regular session. They will dismiss from closed session. We'll need a motion.
I make a motion to move to closed session.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to move to closed session. Natalie, will you do roll call, please?
Ed Robinson,
Yes.
Jennifer Gonzalez,
Yes, here.
Mike Powers,
Yes.
Audrey Costick,
Yes.
Keith Kastenson.
Yes.
Okay. We are now in closed.
Thank you.
No, we will adjourn from there, yeah.
Good night, everyone. Stay warm. Yes, start the vehicle early.
Yes.
I know.
I remember.
Thank you. I don't know who can grab it or where it's at. Agreed.
Should I turn this off?